These games are great.
These games are trash.
Come on, man. Come on.
And that's how we lived our entire life.
That was our whole childhood, mostly.
Fist fighting our way through childhood. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike.
I'm Nick.
We are the Brothers Smurfs. It's time to talk about games that we disagree on.
Yes.
Meaning, AKA, one person likes the game a lot better than the other.
Yes, and now we're going to say that we don't necessarily hate, the other person doesn't necessarily hate these games.
But there's an imbalance in terms of liking.
And this is a very hard list for us to make because we play like 95% of the games we play together. We have very, very similar tastes in games.
Yeah.
And so it's actually hard for us to find a game, one that we dislike at all, and then that one of us likes but the other one doesn't like is pretty darn rare.
Yeah,
but we did get to...
we got to 10 collectively. So you're going to see basically 5 games from each of us.
Yes.
That we really like more than the other. And we're also going to do 5 more in our chat on our Patreon. We always do a supplemental top 10 list. That's for our patrons only. So if you want to see that and see more games that we don't agree about.
$1 a month, you know?
$1 a month will get you there. So go and support our Patreon. There'll be a card floating around for that. But Nick, let's get into 10 games that we just cannot agree about, even though Nick is very wrong and I'm very right.
Oh. So we each have a number 5. Again, this is games. Again, we're gonna make a collective top 10 here. So Mikey, what's your 5 game that you like that I don't like?
Okay, so it's not even a situation that you dislike this game. You do like this game. I like it to a point where I am down to deal with it physically. And this is Through the Ages.
Oh yeah, I know.
This is a big civ building game.
I'll never play this game physically.
That is, we've only ever played it digitally because everyone says it's really kind of fiddly physically. There's a lot of bookkeeping stuff. There's a lot of kind of like, you produce this much food, but your population takes 2 of that food away. You have to do a lot of mathing, and then based on your technologies and the levels of everything, 1 blue token means 1 coal or 2 coal. There's a lot of that crap.
Yeah.
The app just does it for you. It is objectively better, but I love Through the Ages so much that I want to play it physically on the table at least once.
Well,
and you cannot be bothered with that.
No, I can't think of anything I would like to do less than play Through the Ages physically. And here's the thing.
I might not do it twice, but I want to do it once.
You also like the game generally more than I do. I do. By a significant margin. Like, I like Through the Ages. It's a great game to play, like, on a plane, basically. If it's not on a plane, I will never play Through the Ages.
Or 2 or 3 times a day.
Yeah, like, Mike has played hundreds and hundreds of games.
Of it.
And I've played, like, 30. I like it. Mike likes it a lot more than I do. But I can't think of a game, other than like some big war game, that I would like to play less than Through the Ages physically.
Got you. So that's why it's on the list.
Yeah.
Because my love supersedes that.
Yes.
Maybe foolishly, to the point that I'm like, I want to get it on a table and see all the stuff, you know?
Oh, barf.
Probably
mega
only
barf.
one time, though. Probably only one time.
That's some mega barf.
Yeah.
My number 5 is a game that we no longer have, but my number 5 is Cry Havoc. I've always liked Cry Havoc significantly more than you did. The problem with, Cry Havoc is an area control game for the most part, but basically there are 4 different factions in Cry Havoc, and the factions are very asymmetric. There's like the robot faction, they're like kill everything. They essentially get points from killing stuff. There's like the Eurogamer faction where they're just trying to like farm all these crystals around the board. There's like the humans who are all about area control, and then there's the Trogdors or whatever. They're kind of like the people,
the locals.
The locals basically.
And
they're like popping up all the board and basically just trying to kick everyone out of their area. And this is a game that's very hard to get to the table because it's so asymmetric. And this is a game where you really, really want to play it 4-player.
Yeah.
So because you want all the factions going at the same time. And I've always been incredibly enamored with this game. From the moment I saw a review for it when it came out, I was like, we got it really early because I was like, we need to get this game because this game's going to be incredible. And I've always really, really, really liked it. And Mike's always kind of been like, on it. And again, I don't think you hate the game, but like I've always really loved the game. It got to the point where we eventually culled it. We don't even have it anymore because we were like, I like it way more than Mike, and we never get a chance to play it because we want to play it.
And it'll be at conventions. We can play it at conventions. We kind of decided that it's a con game because you can get 4 people to play it. We don't need to play it more than that. My issues with the game, it's kind of a precursor to Root in a lot of ways, where you gotta kind of know your faction. There's a little bit of deck building in. Some things like that, but not major. But my problem with the game is you can't really have it be longer, but it's also a little too short.
It's too short, yeah.
And it's like,
which is a weird problem. Usually it's the other way around,
barely get going, and then the game ends. But it's also like I can't fathom it being.
And so that's kind of a perk of it to me is like the fact that it's quick. You can play it really quickly. Yeah. But I will say, in your defense, it does end. It needs to be like 1 round longer. Yeah. In my opinion. But unless I really like Cry Havoc, I kind of still wish we hadn't gotten rid of it. But Mike doesn't really like it.
It's a unique game. Yeah.
That's our number 5s. Let's go ahead and get into our number 4s. Number 4 is a game, again, that I, really, really like, but I feel like you've never liked it nearly as much as me, and you're definitely done with it now, and that is Adventureland.
Yeah. Fair enough.
I feel like this is a game I find so intriguing.
It's a fine game.
I love this game. Adventureland is great. We do still have this one, although it might end up being cold lately because it's been a long time. But I really like Adventureland. This is a game where there's like 3 different scenarios, and there's an expansion that's like very, very sold out. And this game in general didn't do very well, unfortunately, for the company.
It's from Haba, and it's kind of their Haba like
family
older
weight,
kid family line, which I don't think ever took off.
Never does very well,
because Haba you think of as for young kids.
Yet all their family line tends to be pretty darn good. Games. Yeah. Iquazu almost made my list of a game that I tend to like more than you.
Adventureland is definitely a good game. Yeah. Like, there's no question about that.
But it's a game where it's very interesting. You have essentially a different scenario you're trying to do, and basically it's just different objectives. Yep. But the game is interesting because you have 10 of your like little meeples, and they all start in the top left of the board. And on your turn, you will move one of your meeples, but you can only move your meeples to the right and down. You can never, ever move left or up. Yeah. So the thing is, it's a very fun puzzle, in my opinion, because you have to figure out how far to move stuff, and you're trying to get at certain places before other people. So you're like, but that's way over here. Do I move this one way over here? And it basically make them significantly less useful because now there's so many less places they can go to. Yeah. And then there are like 3 different scenarios, and again, they want you to do different things.
You might want to pair up or focus on a certain area of game or get your people together.
Yeah, sometimes you want to spread out, sometimes you want them together. And then the expansion also makes it like co-op and stuff like that. We never got a chance to play the expansion. Yeah. But I've always really, really been enamored of this game. I thought it was so interesting, that kind of movement that I've never really seen before in a game. But I've always liked it more than Mike. And then you definitely got to the point where you're like, I'm done. I don't need to play Adventureland ever again.
It's a
and
cool
I'm still kind of like, I really, really like Adventureland. Yeah. So
it's pretty simple, right? Because it is a Haba game, and so it's very family weight.
Yeah.
I like it. You either choose one person to move 2 kind of steps or 2 different people to move 1 step. So it's a fun puzzle.
Yeah.
But I feel like I just kind of discovered all of it. That's all it is.
You've been done for a while, and I'm still just like, I like it a lot.
Yeah. I'm like, that's great.
I hope Adventureland's our number 4.
I like that. Number 4 for me falls into a category of it's like you like it, I like it much more. That's Seven Wonders Duel.
Yeah. Again, there's only so many games that one of us likes, the other one hates, right?
Yeah. So we'll get to those.
But I think Seven Wonders Duel is fine.
Yes. Now
I don't get why people love it as much as they do.
I think it works really well
really
as
like
a 2-player game in that it's very confrontational in terms of like it's me versus you. It's very tactical because it's this kind of card pyramid drafting game, but it really comes down to trying to control the draft. And if I, take this one card and there's 2 face down cards, now they flip over, but you have first crack at them. So I do not want to let that happen. Yeah. So there's a lot of that kind of tactical back and forth. There's 3 ways to win, either military, science, or through straight up points. So it takes all that Seven Wonders goodness, but in Seven Wonders, where you're passing your cards around, things get messed up. If everything's on the table in this 2-player heads-up fashion, you just don't get as lost. And I just think it works really well as the selling the premise of a 2-player game where you want to be directly focused on what your opponent is doing.
That's true.
And I think it just does really well with that, with all that kind of Civ theming on it. So I just one that I feel like we both played it early on, and then I kind of kept playing it. You sort of like, you kind of did the Adventureland. You're kind of like, I'm done with it. Like, I'm good.
Well, honestly,
and my interest is still up
with
there.
Seven Wonders Duel, my personal journey with Seven Wonders Duel has always been like, why don't I like this more? I think early on I played it a lot because I kept being like, I'm just missing something. I'm just missing something.
Sure.
And I've just never really liked it. I just honestly never have. I've never understood why people like hail it as this masterpiece. I've just never understood. It's just, I don't hate the game, but I've just never understood why people like it as much as they do. And so I think early on when I did play it, and probably were like, yeah, I really like it. I think I kept my head being like, I should like this.
Sure.
This has a lot of stuff I do like. Why don't I like it more? And it's to the point now where I'm just like, I just don't like it. I just don't like it that much. I don't hate it. I will play it, but like, I don't really like it.
You're not going to pick it off the shelf, though.
No. And especially if I want Seven Wonders something, I'll play Seven Wonders Architects at this point.
I might agree with you there, but I still quite enjoy.
They're so different. They're not even remotely similar. That's the thing, though. But yeah, I'm not really like that much.
I respect it. Seven Wonders Duel is. I'll play that over Seven Wonders all day. I'll play Seven Wonders Architects over Seven Wonders all day. And then depending on what kind of experience I want, either Seven Wonders Duel or Seven Wonders Architects.
Yeah.
But yeah, Seven Wonders Duel. It's just been more my flavor. That's all. That's our number 4, everybody.
Let's get number 3.
Nick, here's where we enter into territory.
I was going to say, this is the one where I'm getting to the point where you, I think, actively dislike this game.
We're heading into territory where there's a certain designer that I just don't think is your designer, all right? So this game is Brass Birmingham. And I'm going to give Nick, I'm going to give you 2 words that is the center of your hatred. Iron clays. Am I wrong?
No, that's not the center of my hatred.
So Nick
I just think iron clays are ridiculous and unnecessary.
So for anyone that doesn't know, iron clays are these like really deluxe poker chips, and you use them as the money in Brass Birmingham. It makes it kind of easy to tell how much money you spent, because how much money you've spent directly affects the player order in the game and things like that. It all comes down to your cash. So these iron clays are a really nice deluxe poker chip set. You dislike poker chips for money in games.
I dislike poker chips for money. I don't dislike poker chips, like Splendor poker chips, fine. Chip theory games, is their whole thing, fine. I dislike poker chips for money when having poker chips makes no sense for the game. Having poker chips in a game like Vegas
Western,
Showdown or a Western makes sense. They're playing a lot of poker. Having poker chips in Brass Birmingham makes no sense.
Well, because they were gambling on the Industrial Revolution.
I hate it so much. I don't know why. It's a hill that I will gladly die on. I think iron clays are so ridiculous.
I want them so bad.
I think they're a terrible currency. Unless you're playing a game like a Western or Vegas
Go with
Showdown.
me here. If you have 5s and 1s, they're circular and stuff. Those are kind of chips, man.
No, dude. I don't know what it is.
They just don't present
It's a
as
weird
poker
hill
chips.
that I'll die on. I know. It's a hill
Nick's
that I'll
thing.
die. It's
and
my
you know
thing.
what, Nick? You get to have it as your thing.
Now, granted, I also don't like Brass Birmingham.
Nick does also like Brass Birmingham. I think part of that is, so for me, when I first played Brass Birmingham, I also did not like it.
It's true.
I have grown to love it a lot.
You have.
Brass Birmingham's kind of a hard sell, and this is a Martin Wallace thing, I think. Martin Wallace bakes some funkiness into his games, and so I think with Brass Birmingham, when I first played it, I had a fundamental misunderstanding of what that game is in terms of how you are meant to play it. And it's this game where you're basically trying to profit off of other people's gains. Like they're doing this thing, so I'm going to try to find a way to like get some profit off of that.
I'm gonna use their tracks and do this.
And like that's a fundamentally different game than I thought it was. And once I was able to wrap my mind around that, I made peace with it and I actually really enjoy doing that because it's this sort of. It's not even like confrontational in a mean way. It's just like, oh, you're doing this? It's like, well, I might as well get a couple points off that. And you're like, well, I'll use your beer. You get something out of it. Let me get something out of it. And I think it's a really interesting thing. And then the actions in the game are actually fairly simple. It usually comes down to spending your meager resources to put more stuff out on the board and build out first the canals and the rails and stuff. I really enjoy it. I understand why it's so highly ranked. I do. It's not gonna be the 3rd game of all time for me, but it is quite a ways up there. Yeah. You'll see if we do our top 100 pretty soon.
We are doing our top 100 very soon. Yeah.
And so this is a game that I have hope for you still, because I feel like now I've adequately explained like what I've learned, and if you play it, I'm not going to say you're going to like it the way I do, but I think you will like it more than when we both had our respective first plays, because we did not understand the game and how it works when we did that.
I think that's almost assuredly true. I'll probably like it more than I did.
Yeah.
I don't know how much. I've never liked a Martin Wallace game.
You haven't.
Despite me wanting to so badly. And here's the thing, like Anno 1880, I want to try it. Even though it's Martin Wallace, I probably won't like it because I never seem to. I want to, though.
Keep trying.
I keep trying. I really want to.
Yeah.
Man, yeah. So,
but that's mine.
Brass Birmingham is objectively a game. My number 3 is a game that, I don't know if you hate, well, I think you know, it's Sanctum. I really like Sanctum. Mike doesn't really like Sanctum that much.
Cooled on it quick, I did.
Cooled on it quick.
It's not a bad game.
I think you like the premise of Sanctum much more than you like the game. I really like the game and the premise. This is a game where you're essentially kind of like, the game is about gearing up for a boss battle, ultimately.
That's all
you are fighting these like demons and like heading up this giant hill up to the Sanctum, which is essentially just a big Balrog up there.
It's Diablo.
It's very Diablo.
You fight stuff, they turn into loot.
Yeah, you fight stuff, they turn into big bags of money or something like that. And then, so basically, as you're fighting these demons or whatever, every thing that you're fighting, you will then turn over and they'll have some kind of thing on them. It could be like a new suit of armor or like some fancy boots or like a cool hat or like a new sword or whatever. And basically you have a character and you can equip that character out with these cards. You have 2 hands, you can put some kind of armor on them, some boots. And then those are going to do a whole bunch of different things. A lot of times allow you to roll more dice or allow you to manipulate your dice a lot. And basically what you're doing is you're going through this game, you're unlocking a whole bunch of different abilities that your character can do. They're all different. And so you're like, oh, this character's really good at this kind of stuff or this kind of stuff. And then basically at the end of the game, you eventually make it to the top, and that's when you're fighting like this big Diablo Balrog looking thing. And it's a really tough fight. Right. And it's a competitive game. But basically like, if you survive the last fight, anyone who survives the last fight, you then look at like your score and that person wins. We've always kind of played it where it's like, hey, if you survive, we all kind of jointly win.
I think that's a piece of it for me. It's like, I always just want this to be a co-op.
Yes, and there was supposed to be an expansion that was going to make it co-op. It actually, I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think the game sold very well, unfortunately. I really like it though, because I do enjoy like the build up into this big boss fight, which is very, very difficult. I think it's really, really fun. The art's cool. It's got like cool little minis in it and stuff like that. I really like it. I will say, like you, I probably like the premise of it more than I like the actual game, but I still really, really like the game. Yeah. And Mike basically was like, cool, and it's immediately cooled on it, and now it's kind of gone.
It was fun for a couple plays, but I'm over it.
I really, really still like it though, and I do want to explore it more. I just gotta find someone else to play it with. So
ain't gonna be me, partner.
It ain't gonna be.
They get that co-op version going, then like, oh, I'll help you out to manipulate your dice. Then I'll be stoked.
Yeah, it's possible. It's possible.
Yeah.
I do think it's a little lost opportunity, unfortunately. But nonetheless, my number 3 is Sanctum. Let's go ahead and get number 2s. My number 2 is a game that I think you dislike, and that's Rum and Bones. Again, this
I will not argue with you there.
This game is a game.
It's a missed opportunity of a game.
Well, it's not so much I don't think Rum and Bones should be anything what it is. I just think it doesn't work for you, and that's what it comes down to is dice rolling. And Mike is a very bad dice roller.
I have bad luck with dice, and this game is like, if you have bad luck with dice, you're going to have a bad time.
You're just going to have a bad time.
You're gonna lose, and I lose because
Whereas I don't have bad luck. Great luck with dice, but I feel like I have slightly better, and I'm able to get over that a little bit better than Mike is sometimes, because Mike, I'm a testament. Mike always rolls very badly. It's just very, very true.
Everyone says they have bad luck. I'm like, no, I think I literally stumbled into a witch's den one day and got cursed. Like, I don't know what happens. If I need to roll high, I will roll low. If I need to roll low, I will roll high. If I need to roll in the middle, I'll roll a number that doesn't exist on a dice trace typically.
7 on a 6.
It's just...
Yeah. But this game, I love. I love Rum and Bones so much. But this is a game where each player takes a faction. The factions will have a crew, and then they'll also have a number of different heroes. And basically, you're going to choose 3 heroes to play in the game.
Yeah.
And then basically, your ships literally go next to each other, big swashbuckling like Pirates of the Caribbean, just broadside, and you're just like swinging over the other ships, and you're just fighting each other, trying to. Well, you might swing, you might fall into the water like this guy does,
or you can fall in the water every time.
Yeah. Every single time. But nonetheless, you're trying to, your ship will have objectives like your main mast or like your armory, and you're basically trying to hit those objectives and score points that way. Also, if you knock out a hero, they will come back, but you'll get a point for doing that. But nonetheless, what it comes down to is all the heroes have different abilities, and you can upgrade those abilities. It's a really, really fun system. But in the end, it comes down to like, okay, I'm going to swing at this one, roll some dice, and you can't really do too much after that.
That's what bugs me so much. And granted, Rum and Bones when the first edition came out was horrible, and then they fixed it.
Well, I liked it more than you, especially.
But it was objectively broken.
It did not work nearly as good as the first.
Because if you were the first player, you were winning that game 100% of the time.
Yeah.
And they fixed it, and they made it so much better. For me, though, it comes down to, man, the minis are awesome. The concept, awesome. Having asymmetric characters and abilities, you can spend stuff, awesome. I don't get to do any of that because I can't roll the dice to do anything fun.
That's true.
I just stand there and get killed a bunch.
Yeah, it's true.
And I'm just like, oh, I want to do something fun.
And Mike will set himself up for a monster turn, and it just won't happen.
Just goes like nothing.
It doesn't really bother me, and I love Rum and Bones so much that honestly,
I can't fault the game even, because that's what the game is.
Yeah.
I just like get so frustrated with my luck.
I don't think it's like, oh man, it could be this. I think this is what Rum and Bones is trying to be.
Yeah.
And I really like that. This is one of those things where it's like, if I found like all of Rum and Bones on like eBay for like a good price, I would buy it.
Of course, for sure.
That's how much I like it. Because like I love the minis. I love the concept of it. I never ever get to play because I basically have to bring it to a convention to play with someone else.
Which you have done.
Which I have done. Shouts out to Dave Phillips.
I will watch you play and be like, this. I'll be like, I wish
I could play it. Yeah.
Can't happen.
I really like it. I'm still painting it very slowly. I love this game so much. But Mike just doesn't really. But yeah, that's my number 2.
I respect. I want to love it so much. Nick, number 2 for me is Inexplicable. I think I'm in the minority here. I think you're in the majority. My number 2 is Tapestry.
I don't think you are in the minority.
I feel like I don't have many friends when I say Tapestry's really good. A bunch of people who do this. Really?
Like, you know, Thinker Themer, they like it.
I know it's so good. I have friends that like it, but you do not.
Tapestry is such a bad game.
No, it's not, man. Like, it's a game that is inexplicable because for me, I don't know why I enjoy it so much.
You're right.
I see the flaws that people talk about. I see it. I don't care. When I'm playing it, you just move up your little track, and you get to do something, and you get to do over here, and you get to put a little disc out, or whatever. Like, you're just moving up these different tracks, and it's all civilization themed, but it's not like linear, like a Through the Ages. No. It's just sort of theming stuff, and it's random. I like it. I like putting stuff out on my little player board. I like to put my little houses out. I don't know. I can't even say why I like it, but I like it, and you really do not.
I really don't. I played it a couple times. Every single time, I was just like, did I miss something? Am I missing something? Why don't I like this? Why don't I like this?
And I'm doing the opposite. I'm like, am I missing something? Why do I like this? Why do I like this? But I do.
And every single time I play it, I like it significantly less than the time I played it before. Like, it's just, I don't know. And again, like, shouts out to people who like it. I'm pumped.
It's just enjoyable.
I just absolutely hate it. I really do. I do not like it at all. I just don't. Yeah. You really like it. That's what's so weird is like, again, like that's so rare for us, but you I really don't like it.
I follow the same pattern when I play. I'm always like, I want to do Science's track. And then as I start playing, I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do the same thing I do every time, you know? And like, I just enjoy it. I think it's fun. I think it's a hell of a production. But yeah, it's one of those ones that like, I am as perplexed as you are. I don't know why I enjoy it, but every time I play it, I just go like this. And I am terrible at the game. I get beat by hundreds of points. I don't care. I'm just like, hey, look at my little tail, look at my civilization grow. Oh, this is cool. I don't know. Tapestry's my number 2, man.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't like it.
I like it so much I permanently borrowed it from a friend. Even though I know there's no one in this house to play the game with.
Sure
and I'm not gonna solo. The solo's terrible. Like, I'm not gonna do that. Yeah. But I like it anyway. Yeah. And so it persists. Yeah, Tapestry is my number 2.
There's multiple games that we have, like, Ramon's at my place, because I don't keep it here because there's no point.
Get away from me.
All right, let's get into our number 1s. We don't like these games.
No. So my number 1 is another Martin Wallace game that when we played it, we sat back, I did this. Oh, that was really fun. And Nick, you said?
I said, this is the worst game I've ever played.
And I was shook by that reaction. I was like, are you serious? London by Martin Wallace is a great game that Nick just, you know what? You just can't see the light.
The amount of vitriol I have for this game.
I was shocked. We played London for the first time. A buddy taught us and everything. It's this game where you are kind of building up London. You're managing your people and the poverty and stuff. And maybe that's the problem is like, you're kind of getting set back with your money and people are discontent and everything. And it's just kind of this card play game. And one that like, I just really enjoyed the kind of card play aspect and stuff. And I don't even quite understand like what you hate so much about it.
I really hate it. I really hate it.
And still am so confused by it.
It's, I don't know. The poverty, like you get stuck in these holes and I just feel like every single time
it's kind of a 2 steps forward, like
I can never get out of it. I'm like, cool, I can't do anything because I'm just stuck in this hole. I just hate it. And then we had to play it again when we played through all of our games in our collection.
Did that help playing it fast?
No, I remember we finished the game and like we finished the game and I was just staring at it. I was like, this is the worst game I've ever played. Just like,
I don't understand that at all.
I don't know.
That's so funny to me.
Really hate this game. Like, I hate it so much. I really do. And I don't like disliking games, but
and we don't typically disagree that much on games.
No.
But this was one that was the most immediate. I came away with such a happy feeling about the game, and you were all out.
Yeah.
I mean, like, all out.
Yeah.
And you're a positive guy.
Yeah.
So London is my number 1. Nick is very wrong about it. I will play it with you, dear reader, because this guy ain't gonna do it. So if anyone's looking to play, I never play it because who would I ever play it with?
Yeah.
Maybe if I added some iron clays to the game.
Oh God. Dude.
Maybe that'd help.
If you want to make me more upset, that'd be the way to do it.
Oh, that's my iron clays. Martin Wallace special right there.
Yeah, there's very few games I like legitimately I can say like I
think it's a
hate
nice
this
little
game.
production.
There's honestly less than 5 I can honestly say I really like. I hate this game. That is one of them.
That is one of them.
It's just what it is. Sorry, Martin Wallace. I want to like your game so badly.
We try.
I know you're a huge fan of us, but it's just you're probably not. You have no idea who we are. You have no idea who we are. Nonetheless, my number 1 is a game that I've always loved. And Mike, I think, has always wanted to like, but really, really doesn't. That's Arcmage.
Oh, yeah.
I really like Arcmage. This is one of those ones
I'm
where like
so disappointed in this game.
You
I'm
are.
so
You
bummed.
you do not like it, and you are. I think this is also one where you want to like the premise.
The premise is amazing. I wanted to get a tattoo based on this game because it uses this magic system that blends colors, and the whole like the system of all these Venn diagrams and the color blending was so cool looking, and the game just doesn't live up to its premise at all.
To be fair, I feel like I am one of the few people who likes this game. Like I know, like Tim Chewin was talking about how he really liked it, and then now he like really doesn't like the game anymore. I feel like I am like on an island with this.
It's such a great idea.
I really like Arcmage. So Arcmage is what it is. It's basically, it's kind of like an area control game where you have a mage, and you have a bunch of little meeples that are your apprentices.
Followers, yeah.
And essentially it's like a spell game where you're a mage, so you're getting these spells, and these spells are tied to a different type of magic. So there's like nature magic, there's like blood magic, death magic.
Yeah. Super cool.
A couple other ones, and basically the cool thing is so basically as when you claim spots on the board, all these spots are like a mine, and that's like the stone magic or whatever. And then basically when you put one of your apprentices there, you essentially then get a spell of that type.
Sick.
And the cool thing is like they're next to each other. So like blood is next to nature. So then they cross. There's a little Venn diagram, and they cross.
Make blends of magic.
Yeah, so there is nature spells and blood spells, but there's also blood nature spells. So you have this board where you're putting out your apprentices, and then you're learning those spells, but then you can have them essentially combine into one, and then go into like that middle zone, and then you can grab a blood nature spell, which is even more powerful. The problem is then you lose the other ones because those are not there. So it's this mix of constant push and pull of getting spells, and then in the middle, there's ones where it's mixing 3 of them. So it might be like blood, nature, and like death, or whatever the ones are called. And those spells are like crazy powerful. And the whole time you're like going around and you're like knocking the other apprentices out and putting yours down and trying to get to the spot so you can put out these relics, which again are how you kind of get your spells going. And it's just, I find it to be so fun. I find it to be so interesting. And Mike likes the premise and really doesn't like the game.
I'm so bummed, man.
But to be fair, everyone else I played this, I think Crook might like it, but I played it with my roommate David, and he was just like, he's like, I don't like this. And I was like, wow. And then they came up with the expansion, made it co-op, and David really likes co-op games. So I was like, okay, I'll play Arcmage co-op with David. And at the end, he was just like, I really don't like this. I was like, oh, God, no one likes this game.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I think it's like the fact that it's an area control game and you have to kind of focus on that. And granted, like that's what gets you your followers and go places and stuff. I'm like, but I want to focus on the spells. And then I get the spells. I'm like, the spells just sort of like facilitate the area control. I'm like, no, I want to throw magic in people's faces and stuff. I want to like do stuff with the magic. It didn't feel dynamic. It didn't feel that exciting. The fact that you had to like lose other spells to make the blends was too brutal. It was too much work. I was just like, everything about it was just like, just get it. To me, there's too many things in the way of just the fun of playing doing the cool with stuff. Magic. And I'm like, let me go play with the magic now. Yeah. And fair. I don't, like, I want a video game of this thing because I would be so sick to start to blend things. There's probably a video game that exists that's exactly like this.
Probably, yeah.
You know, and yeah, it was one that like, I was so excited by the idea of it. And then also they did like a deluxe version where they had the cards foil, which was horrible because it's just illegible.
The foil cards, I will say, I don't think they're horrible, but I do think the foil cards,
they're non-functional.
They make the game much harder to play because it's actually hard. It's also many things. It's hard to see the colors.
Yeah, because they're all sort of metallic.
Yeah, so like I will agree with that. I actually don't like the foil cards.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I'm like, this is one that I'm like honestly bummed by. Yeah. I'm like, it's such a cool idea that doesn't let you get to the fun stuff enough. It gets in its own way, and I'm like, get out of the way. Let me throw some magic. I just want to be a wizard and throw fireballs in people's faces.
That's fair. Again, I really, really like it. Mike doesn't like it. Yeah, it's what it is. But nonetheless, that's 10 games that one of us likes, the other one either really doesn't or just doesn't like it nearly as much.
Yeah.
Again, there's not that many. We do have 10 more. Then we're going to have another supplemental video, kind of our 11 through 20. That'll be over on our Patreon. Again, a $1 patron can access it. So support if you want to. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up if you haven't, and subscribe if you're new here. And then what is something down in the comments? One, what do you agree or disagree with us on this? And then what's something that like someone in your game group or maybe your spouse that you really, really like that they hate?
Yeah, what's a game that you feel like on an island about that you love more than everyone else?
But nonetheless, that's going to be it. My name is Nick Murphy.
I'm Mike Murphy.
We're the Brothers Murph, and we will see you later, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you so much for watching that top 10. Make sure to check out the other top 10s on the right side of your screen. We want to give a big shout out to our channel sponsors, Restoration Games, Lucky Duck Games, and Board Game Geek. And we want to give a special shout out to Evan Miller of Small World Gaming, who is sponsoring the Brothers Murph for the month of, oh, I almost said November. It's almost November. It's October still. So for the month of October, check out Small World Gaming. There'll be a link down in the description below. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll see you later.